Okay, so in this video, we're going to have a quick look at price elasticity of demand. And if you remember from before that elasticity simply means the responsiveness. So already in the course, you will have known that if the price goes up, the demand goes down, and you're moving along the demand curve. If the price goes down, the demand goes up. So again, you're moving along, it's called an extension contraction of demand. What this part is doing is it's looking at, well, okay, we know that when the price goes up, the demand goes down, but how much? Okay, so it is the responsiveness of that demand to a change in price, and that's important, and it's one of the most useful things that a company can know. All right, so whenever you are talking about price elasticity, it's the responsiveness of demand to a change in the price. Okay, now I would recommend when you're writing, it's very easy to just not mention which elasticity you're talking about. So it's really important if you're talking about elasticity, you say which one. Price elasticity in this case could be, another video will show you income elasticity or cross elasticity, the price of a related good. But this is the price of this particular good, and it measures the responsiveness of that quantity demanded to changes in the price. And we either call it elastic or inelastic. So just think of an elastic band. Elastic means it's very responsive, it can expand a lot. Inelastic means it can't, and it doesn't expand very much. That's the idea behind those two. So if the quantity demanded responds a lot to any change in the price, demand is responsive, and we call it elastic. Okay. If the quantity demanded does not respond a lot to a change in price, then it's known as inelastic. Now be careful, the mistake that's often made in the exam is that if it's inelastic, people say, oh, if the price goes down, the demand does not change, or if the price goes up, the demand does not change. That's a special case, and we're going to come and look at that. So you've got to say it only changes by a small amount. Be careful with that one in the exam. And this is a graphical illustration of this. Hopefully you can see that when the price changes here by small amounts, you get big changes in the quantity demanded, whereas, and that's what we call elastic. Inelastic, big changes in price, there's only a small change in the demand in the market. So, as I say, be careful with that one. All right, let's look at the value then and the formula that we have to use, because elasticity has a number to it. Okay, and that number means something. It's something very special, and it's something that you will need to play around with in quite a lot of your analysis. So the formula for the PED is the percentage change in quantity demanded. This triangle is meaning change in, and it's always demand on top. So it's always the demand changes as a result of some percentage change in price. So you're going to work out the percentage change in a number, divide it by the percentage change in price, and then what you're going to find is that you get a number here. Okay, and that's quite important that you get a number, not a percentage change. Often that's a mistake that is made because you've been working on percentages here. You finish with a percentage, which you don't. You finish with a number, really important. Okay, so the PED then is recognized by that value. So if it's elastic, that's got a high PED, and it's going to be greater than 1. What does that mean? That the percentage change in the demand, this number here, is going to be bigger than that number. So we're going to divide a big number by a smaller number, and you're going to get a value greater than 1. If it's inelastic, it's going to have a low PED, and the value will be less than 1. So this percentage change in demand here is going to be smaller than the percentage change in the price. Okay, so let's see, make sure that you can work out the change in any number. Okay, so the change in any number, the percentage change in a number, the formula for it is the change in the number divided by the original number, and then you multiply that by 100, and that gives you your percentage change. Now be careful, because as I say, one of the mistakes, and another mistake that's made, is that you don't use the original number. You can tend to use the new number in this example. So you always use the original number. Okay, does the sign of this matter? What do I mean by that? Well, it means that we know that there's an inverse relationship. So we know that the PED is going to have a negative number. Okay, in other words, when the price goes up, the demand goes down. When the price goes down, the demand goes up. But that number for elasticity, price elasticity, doesn't matter. And it's just convention in economics to ignore it. That's going to be different later on when we look at income and cost, because the sign does matter. I'll give you an example of how you work these things out. If the price goes from 10 to 15 and demand goes from 100 to 80, see if you want to stop the video, see if you know what's going to be the value of the PD. This is how you would work it out. You'd say the percentage change in demand is the change minus 20, goes down 20, divided by the original 100, multiplied by 100 to give us a percentage. So that's a 20% fall. Whereas the change in price, it's gone from 10 up to 15, so it's 5 over the original 10p, and that gives you a percentage of 50. So the PED is minus 20 divided by 50, which will give you a value of minus 0.4. So we ignore the minus, okay, by convention. Sometimes people put that in a bracket, absolutely fine, but it's 0.4, so that is inelastic. The change in the price, 50%. The change in the demand was not that great. It was not that responsive. It fell by 20%. Okay, so there's 3 special situations. You just got to know these, I think, for multi-choice, although this one comes up in the second year of the course. Again, this is the perfectly elastic demand. In other words, if you change the price by a very small amount, you get a massive change, an infinite change in demand. Okay, that's what you'd be drawing for perfectly elastic. Inelastic, this means that the demand does not change, and that's the only time you can say that demand does not change, when the price changes. Don't do it for inelastic. And unitary, special case, the change in demand, the percentage change in demand, the percentage change in price are equal, so you get a 1, and you have to draw it as a curve where the area under the curve, special technical mathematical reason there, the area under the curve is a constant. So hopefully that's given you a good introduction to price elasticity of demand, and the next videos are going to look at the usefulness of this to a company and also the factors that affect it.